It gives us great pleasure to have you join us on today's edition of Aso Briefing. I am Richard Alichinwanyebe. Our top stories. President Tinubu assures Nigerians his administration will win battle against banditry, terrorism. FT police arrest two suspects for culpable homicide in Biazin. Nigeria's inflation rate drops to 15.10%. You are watching Aso Briefing. Don't forget that you can watch us live on DSTV channel 392, StarTimes TV channel 127, and on Free TV. Look us up on channel 507. On YouTube, you can find us on channel 38. Don't also forget that this news is streaming live on our YouTube and Facebook pages. Now we go ahead with details of all our stories. President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his administration's commitment to win the battle against banditry and terrorism that have ravaged several parts of the country. The president gave the assurance in Yola on Monday while commissioning projects embarked upon by the Adamawa State Governor Umaru Fintiri. He specifically commended the efforts of the armed forces of Nigeria, pledging to support them in uniform in their discharge of their duties. The Commander-in-Chief commended Governor Fintiri for the project embarked upon by the state government. He also appreciated the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, who also hails from Adamawa State, recognizing his role in securing the nation. President Tinubu described Ribadu, a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police and former Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, as a proud son of the northeastern state. The president stated publicly that Ribadu's dedication, the enemies of Nigeria, would be flushed out. The Senate has urged the management of the North Central Development Commission, NCDC, to prioritize investments in agriculture and security in the implementation of its 140 billion naira 2026 budget. Chairman of the Senate Committee on NCDC, Senator Titus Zam, gave the directive when management of the commission appeared before the committee to defend its 2026 budget estimates at the National Assembly. The committee, shortly after commencement of the exercise, went into a closed-door session to deliberate on the proposals. Addressing journalists after the session, Senator Zam disclosed that the panel considered all the budgetary items and found them relevant to the development needs of the North Central region.
This is a development commission with a specific mandate to develop the North Central region. And development cannot just be in a vacuum. It has to fill certain sectors of the economy. Example, health, education, agriculture, rural roads, and other public infrastructure, and also other social services that are needed by the people of North Central region. For this commission, you know that North Central is mostly agricultural, and so agriculture must take a pride of place, and it has been so embedded in their budget.
Meanwhile, a mild drama unfolded shortly after the budget defense session as the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Mochi-Oduagan, reportedly confronted the office of the committee chair over the scheduling of her meeting in her absence. The session, which was slated for 10 a.m., concluded shortly after 11 a.m., while the senator was said to have arrived at about noon, expressing displeasure that the exercise had ended before her arrival. Still from the National Assembly has approved a total of 1.504 trillion naira as budgetary allocation for the Nigerian Army in the 2026 fiscal year, assuring the military high command of prompt release of appropriated funds. A joint committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Army expressed satisfaction with a 1.5 trillion naira proposal during the budget defense session with the Army Chief of Staff in Abuja on Monday. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Army, Abdulaziz Iyar Adua, disclosed these after the joint session with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General, the current Chief of Army Staff.
Continue reading. Now what's happening?
In his remarks, Chairman of the House Committee on Army, Aminu Balele, commended the Chief of Army Staff and personnel of the Army for their commitment in combating insurgency and safeguarding the nation's territorial integrity.
We are aware that 70% of the 2025 has been rolled over to 2026 budget. So, and we know that the President Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola,
he pledged that the House Committee would continue to push for timely release of funds to enable the Army discharge its constitutional responsibilities effectively. The leadership of the House of Representatives has urged wives of lawmakers to press on their husbands to vote in favor of the gender bill for passage towards improving women's participation in governance. Deputy Speaker of the House, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, made the personal remark before delivering the Speaker's message at the opening of a two-day digital literacy and capacity building workshop for spouses of members of the House of Representatives at the National Assembly. Our correspondent Rosemary Kokotega reports that the workshop was put together by the House of Representatives Spouses Association and National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA. Here is a report.
Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu acknowledged the complementary role wives of members of the House of Representatives play in ensuring stability of lawmakers, enabling them to perform their legislative duties. He lamented the fact that Nigeria lags behind in global rating on women participation in governance and appealed to them to prevail on their spouses to pass the gender bill currently before the National Assembly. Delivering the Speaker's message, Mr. Kalu underscored the importance of the women understanding their spouses' tasks in supporting them to succeed.
We have sponsored the bill. We have done the advocacy. But the last push, I'm leaving it to your hands. I believe that with your support and with your intervention at home, that my brothers, the members of the parliament, will vote favorably on this bill. The fact is, the job that members do is often very demanding and can put a heavy strain on marriages. The more spouses understand the responsibilities of their partners, the more they can help them achieve desired objectives and even provide technical support. This training therefore signifies a key step in our continuous effort to empower those who stand beside our members.
Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, in a goodwill message, said the House of Representatives Spouses Association (HOSA) is positioned to serve as catalyst for digital awareness within constituencies and urged them to approach the training as a strategic empowerment platform.
Through your platforms and influence, you shape narratives, expand access, and open doors of opportunity for many who might otherwise be left behind. Above all, you strengthen those who are entrusted with our country's future. These are crucial forms of national service worthy of recognition and sincere appreciation. Your theme today is quite apt. Capacity building at its core is an investment in sustainability.
President of HOSA, wife of the Speaker, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin Abbas, said the women can't afford to be passive users of digital technology, hence the necessity of the training. Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency NIDA, Kashifu Abdullahi, noted in his remark the urgency of the lawmakers' spouses upgrading in digital fluency to further strengthen their supportive role.
The digital transformation of our nation must be inclusive. It must ensure that women in leadership spaces are confident participants in the digital economy. This collaboration demonstrates foresight and commitment.
There is this proverb that says, behind every successful man, there is a strong woman. So you are the strong women behind our leaders at the National Assembly. Therefore, we want you to develop your digital fluency so that you can support our leaders at the National Assembly to deliver sound legislation and laws for us.
The workshop, co-sponsored by HOSA and NITA, held under the theme Empowering Women for Digital Future, Leadership, Well-being and Opportunity. Rosemary Kokotega, Aso Television News.
The Federal Capital Territory chapter of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, has issued a 72-hour ultimatum to the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, demanding the immediate release of funds for the payment of January salaries to affected workers or risk a statewide industrial action. At an emergency press briefing held on Monday in Abuja, NOLGE lamented the continued non-payment of salaries to workers of the Kuje Area Council, describing the situation as unacceptable and inhumane. The union disclosed that Kuje remains the only area council yet to receive its allocation for salary payments, despite the disbursement of monthly allocations to other councils. Addressing journalists, the FCT NOLGE president, Comrade Ibrahim Abdullahi Kabi, said the delay has subjected workers and their families to severe hardship. According to him, many affected families have resorted to borrowing, begging, and other desperate measures to survive, while some school children have reportedly been sent home over unpaid fees. Comrade Kabi explained that repeated efforts to ascertain the cause of the delay have yielded no positive outcome, as officials responsible for the release of funds have attributed the problem to unresolved technical issues lingering for over 2 weeks. He expressed concern over what he described as the troubling trajectory of FCTA's handling of workers' welfare. The union questioned why workers who have diligently carried out their duties are being denied their statutory entitlements, stressing that salaries are first-line charges and not privileges to be delayed arbitrarily. NOLGE further disclosed that its planned action has the full awareness and backing of the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) and the national leadership of the union. It warned that failure by the FCTA to release the funds within 72 hours would compel NOLGE to embark on an industrial action across all 6 area councils of the FCT. Women in the aviation industry have been urged to take advantage of supportive government policies to rise leadership position. The call was made by the Lagos Regional Manager of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Barrister Bukola Teriba, at the 2025 Women in Aviation Award Night in Lagos. Mrs. Teriba commended the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, and the NCAA Director General, Chris Najomo, for creating a more supportive environment for women in the sector, noting that more women are now occupying managerial positions across agencies under the Ministry of Aviation. Mrs. Teriba, who spoke after receiving the Women of the Day Award from Women in Aviation International, encouraged women to continue demonstrating professionalism and leadership, stressing that the current administration has created opportunities for them to thrive. Also speaking at the event, former Managing Director of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, Engineer Nnamdi Udo, urged women in aviation to maintain a healthy work-life balance, noting that the demanding nature of the industry requires professionals to set boundaries and avoid burnout for the sake of safety and long-term productivity. In her remarks, the president of the Women in Aviation International Nigeria, Mrs. Rejoice Ndu Nachi, said the organization remains committed to promoting inclusion and encouraging more women to pursue careers across all areas of aviation. She also paid tribute to pioneering aviator Chinyere Kalu, while calling on stakeholders to continue empowering the next generation of women in the industry. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has proposed a total budget of 134.2 billion naira for the 2026 fiscal year, calling for increased capital allocation to drive large-scale interventions for women and vulnerable groups. The Minister Imam Suleiman Ibrahim made the appeal during the ministry's 2026 budget defense before the Senate Committee on Women Affairs at the National Assembly. She disclosed that capital releases for 2025 were extremely low, hampering implementation of key programs. Out of 89.7 billion out of 89.87 billion appropriated for capital projects in 2025, only 394.85 million, representing 0.44%, was released, and that in December, making utilization practically impossible.
I would like to give account of the overhead of 2025. The sum of 2,810,959,737 naira was appropriated for our overhead, but only the sum of 471,548,342 naira 50 kobo was released, representing 16.78%. The sum of 471,546,036 naira 11 kobo, representing 99.9% of release amounted was utilized. So the sum of 2,339,411,394 naira 50 kobo, representing 83.22%, was not released in our 2025 overhead budget. For our 2025 capital, 89,865,454,436 naira was appropriated for our capital expenditure. Only 394,854,179 naira 40 kobo, representing 0.4%, was released in December and remained unutilized due to late disbursement and no cash backing.
In her remarks, Chairman of the Senate Committee, Irete Kingibe, noted that allocation was not necessarily the primary challenge, but securing final approval and timely releases from the federal government.
Release of funds. That's where the problem lies. We can allocate and appropriate anything you want, but are you going to get the funds? That's what we are trying to work on in the Senate, because that is a major problem. But you know how I feel about women, children, and social development, so we can look at it again. It was the men too, sorry.
The committee subsequently adjourned the meeting for further legislative consideration. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has arrested 2 suspects in connection with a case of culpable homicide that occurred in Biazin area of the FCT. According to a statement issued by the command spokesperson SP Josephine Ade, on 12th of February 2026 at approximately 11:45 p.m., the Biazin Divisional Headquarters received a distress call reporting that a 16-year-old boy, Chidera Benjamin of Biazin Across, had allegedly inflicted a severe machete injury on his mother during a domestic dispute. SP Ade said upon receipt of the report, police officers were immediately dispatched to the scene, adding that preliminary investigations revealed that 2 neighbors, Cosmos Okafor, aged 31, and Okechukwu Wisdom, aged 17, allegedly attacked Chidera Benjamin in reaction to the incident. The statement noted that further investigations revealed that the confrontation stemmed from allegations that Chidera Benjamin had been transferring funds from his mother's bank account into his personal OPay account without her consent. The police spokesperson further disclosed that When his mother confronted him over the unauthorized transactions, he became violent and attacked her with a machete, causing serious injury to her hand. The statement revealed that the two neighbors who witnessed the confrontation between Chidera and his mother attacked Chidera for attacking his mother, during which he sustained severe injuries and became unconscious, adding that he was rushed to Kubwa General Hospital, where he was later confirmed dead by a medical team. The statement also noted that both suspects were promptly arrested by the police. The Defense Headquarters, DHQ, has confirmed the arrival of approximately 100 United States military personnel and associated equipment at Bauchi Airfield to support ongoing capacity building efforts of the Nigerian Armed Forces of Nigeria. In a statement by the Director of Defense Information, Major General Samaila Uba, the deployment was described as a planned outcome of prior engagement between the Nigerian delegation and its U.S. counterpart during a bilateral working group meeting. The presence of the U.S. personnel follows a formal request by the federal government of Nigeria for specific military training, technical assistance, and intelligence sharing support. According to the statement, collaboration is designed to strengthen Nigeria's operational capabilities in confronting terrorist threats and improving the protection of vulnerable communities nationwide. Major General Uba emphasized that the U.S. personnel are in Nigeria strictly in an advisory and training capacity and are not deployed as combat forces. All activities, he noted, will be conducted under the authority, direction, and control of the Nigerian government in close coordination with the armed forces of Nigeria. Nigerian troops are expected to begin a series of joint training exercises and intelligence-focused cooperation initiatives with the visiting advisors. This engagement, he said, aims to improve operational planning, intelligence analysis, and tactical proficiency in counter-terrorism operations. The executive chairman of the Nigerian Revenue Service, Mr. Zak Adedeji, has urged sub-national tax authorities to integrate technology into their revenue systems to enhance efficiency, transparency, and accountability. He made a call in Abuja at the FCT IRS Stakeholder Engagement Forum with the theme, Harmonizing Revenue Systems and Implementing New Tax Laws, represented by the Executive Secretary of the Joint Revenue Board, Mr. Olusegun Philip Adeshokan. He described the engagement as timely amid ongoing fiscal reforms. Adedeji said reforms under President Bola Tinubu are repositioning Nigeria's revenue architecture for equity and sustainable public finance. He commended the FCT IRS for convening the forum, noting that technology would help curb leakages, improve compliance, and accelerate infrastructure development in the FCT. Acting chairman of the FCT IRS, Michael Ango, described the forum as a platform for partnership rather than enforcement.
For us as a revenue authority, the real vision is to provide funding for the FCT so that you and I can have a city where there are good roads, there are hospitals, there are schools, there are bridges, there is infrastructure that we all can use as citizens. Like I mentioned, if each of us was to provide our own water, our own school, our own schools, we will not clinics or hospitals, we will not be able to achieve it. But if we all contribute as residents of FCT, then of course we'll have infrastructure, we'll have social services, we'll have a secured city where all of us can be proud of and we can live and thrive and do our business.
He said the service is seeking collaboration with taxpayers to achieve a shared vision for the capital, stressing that reliable internally generated revenue remains key to infrastructure, security, and public services. Ango added that FCT IRS now has improved access to national tax systems through the Joint Revenue Board to strengthen administration. Director of Taxpayer Services, Chinwe Ndu, said the forum aims to deepen understanding of the new tax laws and promote ease of doing business.
This agenda calls on all institutions to strengthen systems, promote accountability, and drive economic transformation through deliberately advancing through innovation, partnership, and shared responsibility. In this spirit, the FCT IRS is deliberately advancing towards a more efficient, transparent, and harmonized revenue framework that reflects the values of fairness, service, and trust between the tax authority and the taxpayers.
She emphasized that taxation thrives on clarity and cooperation, reaffirming the service's commitment to a pragmatic and practicable tax framework. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), Brigadier General Olakule Nafiu, has called on managers of the scheme's ventures to be receptive to new ideas that will make their operations conform to global best practices. He made the call while declaring open the 2026 Farm Ventures Managers Workshop with a theme, Promoting Viable Partnerships for Profitable NYSC Ventures in Abuja. General Nafiu, who was represented by the Director of Core Mobilization, Mrs. Rachel Idiawo, said the NYSC Ventures were products of initiatives designed to empower core members, staff, and host communities, and enjoy the managers to chart new paths to make them more profitable. The DG further stressed the need for them to continue to shun acts of sabotage and management, and adding that the workshop was aimed at enhancing their capacity as well as promoting viable partnerships that will boost the profit margin of the ventures. He commended the farm ventures managers who performed creditably and encouraged them to sustain their efforts towards achieving greater success. In his welcome address, the acting director, Ventures Management Department, Mr. Abe Dankaro, said the department had achieved significant milestones through the increased productivity, expanded market reach, and impactful partnerships. He listed some of the achievements to include installation of solar borehole, establishment of modern fish farm at the NYSC farm, Kwali FCT, and the commencement of beef fattening in the premises of the NYSC Nasarawa State Orientation Camp in Kefi. As the holy month of Ramadan sets in, Muslim Ummah have been encouraged to be charitable in giving out to the less privileged in the society, for Allah has made them custodians of wealth. The advice was given by the Grand Sheikh of the Ilorin Emirate, Dr. Abdul Qadir Al-Salam, at the multipurpose hall of the National Mosque in Abuja, where 440 persons benefited from the empowerment projects organized by the Dares Kitab Foundation. Daniel Obi tells us more. That report will be brought to you in our subsequent bulletin. Now, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, has applauded the recent decision of the 39th Ordinary Session of the African Union Assembly, a historic decision marking a significant milestone in Africa's financial integration journey and strengthening Nigeria's strategic role in shaping the continent's evolving financial architecture. As press statements by the CBN disclosed that the decision was taken during the February 2026 summit to officially approve Nigeria's permanent membership of the board of the African Monetary Institute, noting that it would position Nigeria as the epicenter of Africa's emerging monetary union and enhance her voice and influence in shaping of Africa's single currency architecture. Speaking, the CBN chief explained that hosting the AMI and subsequently the African Central Bank holds a massive value for Nigeria and the continent, adding that AMI, which is established under the African Union's financial institutions agenda, acts as a precursor to the African Central Bank with the will be headquartered in Abuja, Nigeria. Commending the decision that makes Nigeria a permanent member of the Convergence Council, Mr. Cardoso highlighted its implementation to mark a vital step towards enhancing microeconomic convergence, fostering monetary cooperation, and progressing Africa's long-term vision of financial sovereignty and economic integration, while thanking President Bola Tinubu and his vice, Senator Kashmir Shettima, for their strategic guidance. Mr. Cardoso described the development not only as a victory for Nigeria, but also a triumph for Africa's integration and monetary sovereignty. He further reaffirmed commitments to continuously collaborate with the African Union Commission, Association of Central Bank member states, and development partners to establish a solid foundation for the African Central Bank and a future African single currency. Now, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has announced that Nigeria's inflation rate eased slightly in January 2026 to 15.10% in January 2026 from 15.15% of December 2025, highlighting that the slight drop of 0.05% signals a continued fall in price pressures at the start of the new year, following the months of gradual relief for consumers. The NBS made this known in its recent report on inflation rate issued to newsmen, while attributing the decline in the inflation rate on a month-on-month basis to the sharp drop in food inflation with impact on Nigerian households at point. It points the decrease in the average prices of water yam, eggs, green peas, groundnut oil, soya beans, palm oil, maize, grains, guinea corn, beans, beef, melon, cassava, tuber, and cowpeas. The NBS further affirmed that on a year-on-year basis, the inflation rate was 27.61% in January 2025, showing a decline of 12.51% when compared to the same period last year. At the same state level, the report shows that the inflationary pressures remain uneven, with Benue State recording the highest inflation rate of 22.48%, while Ebonyi State recorded the slowest inflation rate of 8.72% on a year-on-year basis. And that story brings us to the end of Aso Briefing for today. Many thanks for watching. I am Richard Alechinwanyebe.